Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and this will be the final episode of my preseason content, or at least I think. Maybe I'll make something else. We'll see. But for now, this is looking to be the final episode of my preseason content before the season starts. In this episode, I'm going to look into the NHL schedule for the whole season. Which teams have favorable schedules? Which teams, not so much? What teams have a lot of back-to-back games? What teams should you be drafting goalies from? We're going to get into all of that. Before we get started though, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm trying to hit at least 1,000 subs this year, so every subscription really helps, guys. Thank you so much. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the content. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about is off-day games. And what I mean by that is games that are played on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Those are days of the week that do not have a lot of games in general. 60% of the games this year are being played on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. The other 40% are being played spread out of those other 4 nights. So if you want to maximize your starts this year, you're going to want to draft players from the following teams. These teams, the Anaheim Ducks, the Washington Capitals, the Rangers, the Coyotes, the Blackhawks, the Avalanche, and the Jets have half or more of their games on off nights. That's pretty nice. I like this a lot. So if you haven't drafted yet and you're between maybe a Zibanejad or a Braden Point in your draft, maybe you'll lean a little bit closer to Zibanejad because now you know that you'll be able to play the guy on a lot of off nights, and then you might have room for another centerman on a night that's more popular. And that's a great example because if you are going to draft a centerman, a guy who's locked in at center, it is a good idea to draft someone from one of these teams, like a Jonathan Toews or a Mark Scheifele, because those guys are going to be playing on the off nights and they may not conflict that much with the rest of the guys in your lineup. In addition to this, you see the Rangers on the list, right? The Rangers also have a really nice schedule for this specific reason. A lot of teams have weeks with 2 games, with 1 game sometimes, and that might screw you a little bit week by week because, oh man, you have a really star player who's only playing a couple of games this week. You might lose the week just because your star player didn't have that many games scheduled. Well, if you draft New York Rangers players, they never, ever, the whole season, play fewer than 3 times in any fantasy week this season. So if you're drafting guys like Panarin and Zibanejad, they will not screw you over, at least not in terms of their schedule. On the flip side, these are the teams that have the least amount of off-day games. And the least is the Montreal Canadiens, followed closely by the Sharks, the Flames, the Predators, the Panthers, and the Lightning. So on the flip side, maybe it's not the best idea to pick Nick Suzuki as your centerman. He's going to be playing on pretty much all the non-off night games, right? He's going to be playing a lot on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So if you do draft Nick Suzuki, it's not a bad draft pick. Just make sure to have other centermen that are going to be able to play on those off nights and hopefully not conflict with Nick Suzuki on those nights. Now, the easiest way to get around this is by drafting guys that have eligibility on both center and another position. Guys like Tomas Hertl of the San Jose Sharks. I'm not worried about drafting Hertl because even if I have 2 guys locked in as center on those on nights, Hertl is still going to be able to be played as a left winger. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about in this video, guys, is the back-to-back games. Which teams have the most back-to-backs? Which teams have the least back-to-backs? Well, as you see on this chart, guys, the Islanders have by far the most back-to-back games. What does this mean? Well, it means that their goalies are going to be playing back-to-back games a lot, which means they're going to be alternating goalies a lot. That's not super huge news though for the Islanders since they were expected to alternate their goalies pretty much every game anyways. So basically all this means is that you can draft Varlamov and Sorokin with even more confidence because even if one guy ends up pulling ahead, getting a little bit more starts, they have so many back-to-backs that the other guy's going to get a lot of starts anyway. The team with the least amount of back-to-backs though is Edmonton, which weirdly enough makes Mike Smith kind of really valuable as like a second or third goalie this year. As a third goalie, I really like Mike Smith because, well, he's only got 8 back-to-back games out of 82. So realistically, he could get almost all the other games because Koskinen really sucks. So if Mike Smith is getting pretty much every single game except for those 8 back-to-back games, the dude could start up to 74 games this year. I'm not saying he's going to start 74 games this year, but he might get close to that. So he may actually have a lot, and I mean a lot of value this year. Other notable teams that don't have a lot of back-to-backs: Colorado, Montreal, Winnipeg, Tampa Bay, San Jose, Pittsburgh, Vancouver, and Vegas. That makes Leonard more valuable. That makes Demko more valuable. That makes Vasilevsky more valuable. That makes Jari more valuable. That makes Price a little bit more valuable. That makes Hellbuck a little bit more valuable. And it makes Kemper a little bit more valuable as well. This unfortunately makes guys like Cal Peterson, Carter Hart, Marc-Andre Fleury just a little bit less valuable because they will be splitting the starts a little bit more. But I'm not too concerned about any of these guys. They're still going to get the bulk of the starts for their team. And that's it, guys. It's just so you know, it's information that could potentially help you choose between one guy or another guy in your draft. And maybe that'll be enough to push you over the edge and help you win that fantasy hockey championship this year. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Hope you enjoyed the content, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tip, and that will be a regular season episode. So excited, guys. Catch you in the next one.